we talked a little bit about, how you improved yourself and mold toxicity. Are there things you're doing on a daily basis for your mental health now that you weren't doing before?
Yeah, for sure. So to back up a little bit, yeah, all this sort of content I put out is this idea that one, mental health is just like physical health.
Yes.
In the sense that we all get that physical health is a spectrum. It's not a yes, no thing. There aren't like healthy people and unhealthy people, and that's it. We're like in two boxes that you fall into one or the other. It's this continuum, and you're like, everyone's sprinkled along it. And that there's a lot of factors at play there. There's your exercise, there's your diet, there's how well you sleep, there's do you have some kind of acute illness at a given time, right? All of that plays into that. But we know that you can move yourself to the positive end of that spectrum if you do certain things over time. And you can also move yourself to the negative end of that spectrum if you don't do them or do other things or do self-destructive things. And that the process is slow as well. You don't jump from one. It's like you commit to eating better, exercising, sleeping well, all of that stuff. And you could be 100 pounds overweight and you run a marathon eventually, but it's not going to happen tomorrow.
Yeah.
You're going to chip away at it. But mental health, it's just a yes, no question. It's like, do you have mental health problems? Yes or no? But just check the box, right? And if it's yes, if it's no, okay, fine. You're one of the people that's just fine.
Yeah.
And if it's yes, well, let's get you in therapy. Maybe you need some SSRIs or whatever. And it's just not true. It's exactly the same scenario. It's a spectrum, right? Now, can you change your mental kind of, the way you feel in the moment? Yeah, you can, but you're more likely to do that more often the more sort of training you put behind it, mental training. And so for me, it was adopting that, realizing also too that those exist on one spectrum. It's not a mental health spectrum and a physical health. It's a whole health, whatever you want to call it, holistic health spectrum. Those things interplay with one another, right? They feed off of one another. But to me, so much of it goes back to, it is all ultimately about your mental health, because the only way you experience anything is mental construct, right? Like the way I feeling my body, anything I do is a mental construct. It's just happening here, right? Like I'm experiencing it. Look, I think I started with some basic meditation, which I'd never done before till probably my mid 40s, which is crazy to me. It's one of these things that it's been around forever.
Yeah.
Thousands of years, people have been meditating. And I never thought it was a thing that was necessary. And it was like something the hippy dippy people did, or it was an Eastern practice. So it was like, you got to sit lotus position in the corner and burn an incense stick. And I'm like, that's not me, right? Screw that. So it was just, coming to the realization that's probably a good idea. And understanding what it was too. I always thought it was sort of this empty your head thing. And I was like, well, but finally cluing into the fact that your stream of consciousness, your thoughts are that you don't think them, so to speak. They just sort of show up in your head. It's not to say you can't actively think about something or focus on something, but that idea that the thoughts what's normally going on in your head is essentially just a stream of information, like a radio station, was such a revelation for me of and you don't have to pay attention to it. You don't have to internalize it and say, that's me. You can just say, those are thoughts, and I can either use them to my advantage or I can completely ignore them. And I think that was so revelatory for me to adopt a little bit of a meditation practice. For me, though, the whole mind fitness idea, it goes so far beyond that. And I think that that's where our current idea of sort of mental health, like ways you can do it on your own, is limited. It's sort of just about that, right? Mindfulness, meditation, very trendy. And it's great, but it's like one piece. So there's other things that you can do that I try to do on a daily basis. So I get up in the morning, I journal for 5 minutes. I'm a terrible journaler. It does not come naturally to me, but I do the 5-minute journal. So it's like, I found something that I can at least do this for 5 minutes, right? Like figure out a baby step that you can take. And so I do that. I read the Daily Stoic. So I just like, a quick Stoic kind of thought to go for the day. I haven't been doing it lately because of the 5-minute journal, but I used to do a statement of gratitude and statement of intent. So I would write something on a yellow sticky that was a statement of gratitude and then a statement of intent, and put them somewhere where I could see them. And the idea was, if my mind started to drift to sort of thoughts from the past, regret, any of that, trying to replace that with that gratitude feeling. And then if I started to go towards the future, anxiety, worry, replace that with a statement of intent. I haven't been doing that lately just because it's sort of doubled up a little bit with that 5-minute journal. I'll read for about 20 or 30 minutes just to kind of get my mind going. So like, to me, there's a big piece of this, which is like mind development, like just keep making yourself smarter. Like one of the things you can do forever is make yourself smarter. Your body is eventually going to deteriorate, sadly, but your mind can really be sharp and do more the older you get, which is a gift, right? So you have to dig into that. And then I'll do a game too. Like I do Wordle in the morning, the New York Times game. Just takes like 5 minutes. Again, it's just something to kind of get like the problem solving part of my brain going.
Yeah.
And then I do exercise as well that, helps you mentally. I'll do some breath work, different things. The breath work I like, there's a lot of breath work that is a lot of like deep inhales and things like that, which, depending on what you're trying to do, can be very effective. Like a lot of the Wim Hof stuff can be effective, where you're sort of like charging up your nervous system. I find with sort of chronic illness, a lot of what you're trying to do is like calm your nervous system.
Yes.
Your nervous system is on overdrive.
Right.
And if you think about it, when you're calm, you're not breathing like no, that's not how you breathe when you're calm. So most of the breath work I do is literally trying to make my breath as quiet and as calm as possible. Like it's the quality of the breathing that I'm worried about. It's not even really like a lot of times there's different type box breathing, and there's, what is it? 4-7-8 or whatever it is, right? Like where it's, I think it's 4, hold for 7, out for 8, something like that. And those are all good, again, and like if it works for somebody, great. I do less counting breaths and I do more focusing on the quality of it. How calm can I breathe through my nose only? And how quiet and relaxed can I make this? And that was a good thing for me too, because a lot of meditation starts with breathing, focusing on breathing. And again, a lot of it's always like deep inhales and deep exhales. It never really worked for me. I found a lot of help when I started focusing. I can focus on my breath a lot easier when my intent is to calm, like literally make it as quiet as possible. Like how would you breathe if you were like sleeping, right? Like what is that like? Or if you were you were in a room with somebody and you were trying to breathe in a way where they had no idea you were there, right? Like that. So those are some of the things I do. I also do skill work. I'm a big believer in sort of developing a skill because it connects your body with your mind in a way where you're learning something that's building new neurons. So for me, it's piano. I'm a musician. I played guitar for my whole life, but I've been playing piano for about 3 years or so. So I'll do that at night. So yeah, I mean, those are some of the things that I've added to sort of the mental repertoire of exercises that I do.
It's really interesting because, you're speaking the truth that a lot of people probably don't like journaling. They don't like this idea of sitting quietly, right? In the morning, it's usually like, all right, check your phone, get going. You're late for work. You got to like just run through. I've found that, the people that really are more committed to healing, find that morning ritual, whatever it is, and stick to it. In that sort of daily stoic, you must do this. This is your responsibility. Just get up and do those things and you will be rewarded the rest of the day for doing them.